I've had more time to reflect on President Trump's speech last night. So many great moments. There were some really funny moments too. It was one of the most entertaining State of the Union addresses I have ever seen, and I've seen a lot. Somebody asked me last night as I was watching it live with a group of people, how many did you seen? And really, I didn't pay a lot of attention probably till after 9/11, and I started being a lot more engaged and paying a lot more attention. With that being said, since Ronald Reagan, there hasn't been someone as cognizant of being an entertainer and working a crowd since now President Trump, and he is doing a masterful job of it. As he was going through at one point, and they were talking about, he was referencing Democrats said, we have to have new legislation. Without new legislation, we can't solve the border issue. And President Trump quips, well, turns out all we needed was a new president. Comedic gold, the way he's laying this out. In fact, when he's going through some of the names on the Social Security list and he's identifying, we have names on the list of people that are incredibly old. And as he's going through the list, he's like past 150, 160, whatever it was. And he says, turns out we're a lot healthier than I thought, Bobby, referring right to Robert Kennedy Jr. and the guy that's coming in to help solve some of the health issues we're having in our nation. So many great, funny moments, but also there were some really powerful moments when he identified one of the first things he did as president was signing an executive order that there's only two genders, there's male and female. And then one of the things that he encouraged that every young person in America needs to know, you are perfect the way God made you. It really is so powerful that as we have seen a woke mob mentality that's tried to manipulate and use kids for promoting some of these agendas, to go back to the reality that we understand that there's a God, a creator. In fact, part of where the founding fathers identified, we hold these truths to be self-evident, all men are created equal. Our value comes from the fact that we're made in God's image. And so this idea from President Trump, you are perfect exactly the way God made you, it's such a great principle and truth that kids need to hear so much more. And then there were some really sweet moments when DJ Daniel, the 13-year-old kid who had survived cancer, was supposed to have died like back in 2018, and he's pressing through, and he is an honorary police officer. And President Trump, if you haven't seen it, this is the best part, as President Trump is announcing that he's going to make him an honorary Secret Service member, and you see DJ's eyes get so big as he's processing what's happening. This incredible moment. And one of the things that was so telling is, as all of this was happening, at times the camera would pan and show the crowd, and it showed the Democrats. And it makes sense that they might not stand as President Trump's talking about some of his policy positions. But what was so telling is in moments when it should have been incredibly unifying, when everybody should have stood and applauded this kid who is a brain cancer survivor, who is this warrior, showed incredible courage. We want to celebrate and honor this kid. In fact, there were many stories of people that were up in the gallery, and Democrats, they neglected to, generally almost nobody clapped on the Democrat side the whole time. And only once did like one or two Democrats stand. They missed the moment to be unifying. And it reminds me, Abraham Lincoln said, referencing what Jesus had said in the Gospels, a house divided against itself can't stand. And it's never been more clear how divided we are in America than looking at what happened with the State of the Union and recognizing that if we're at a place that one side can't cheer for a kid who's a brain cancer survivor, this incredibly sweet moment that he becomes this honorary Secret Service agent, if we can't cheer that kid on because somebody from the other side is doing it, we've misunderstood a lot of very fundamental things. It's very similar to what George Washington said in his farewell address, where he warned that we need to make sure we don't let the love of party keep us from principle, because if we love party more than we love principle, it could lead to our downfall. It was a very clear picture that there were a lot of people, and I'm sure it was a strategy that we're not going to applaud anything he does. We're just going to let him do his thing. Well, it's a pretty poor strategy when you can't be unified behind cheering on someone like DJ. With all that being said, there were some funny moments, there were some really powerful moments, and some really sweet unifying moments. And certainly this was one of the most entertaining State of the Union addresses I've ever seen.